everyone, my name is Kristen Allen and I work for the Dixon Gallery and Gardens. The Dixon is a super cool place. It's an art museum and a garden right here in Memphis, Tennessee. In January, we are opening a new exhibition at the Dixon called America's Impressionism, Echoes of a Revolution. This show will feature American artists that worked in the Impressionist style. Impressionism actually got its start in Europe. And in Impressionism, artists are less concerned with trying to make things look realistic and more concerned with just trying to capture light and the feeling that they had when creating it. So Impressionism uses a lot of colors and very visible brushstrokes. Americans loved Impressionism, and it became all the rage here by the late 1800s. But American artists made it their own, and they loved the style for a long time after it had fallen out of favor in Europe. While French Impressionists chose to focus on the countryside and the natural landscape, a lot of American Impressionists try to focus on the city life. They wanted to capture the hustle and bustle of a big city and how the American landscape was changing. One of those artists was Colin Campbell Cooper, and his work is featured in the exhibition at the Dixon. Colin Campbell Cooper was born in Philadelphia almost 165 years ago. His mother was an amateur artist, and both of his parents were thrilled when he decided to become an artist in his own right. Cooper traveled all over the world studying art and making paintings, especially in Europe. But when he was 40, most of his artwork was burned in a fire, so we don't really have any examples of his artwork from early life. He met another well-known artist and fell in love, and together they moved to New York. Cooper was immediately inspired by the landscape of New York, and he loved to paint the skyscrapers next to the old buildings and capture how the city was growing and changing. He and his wife were married for 23 years, but when she passed away, he moved to California to continue his work. He painted until he lost his eyesight late in life. Colin Campbell Cooper died at age 81, but he was honored just a year after his death with a memorial at a museum in California that showcased his life's work. Just a few short months before he died, Cooper wrote a letter to his local newspaper petitioning them to turn an abandoned post office into an art museum. And just 4 years after his death, the Santa Barbara Museum of Art did just that. The Santa Barbara Museum of Art is still around today, and it still uses the post office that Cooper wrote about all those years ago. His painting of the Palace of Fine Arts will be on view at the Dixon from January 24th through May 9th. I especially love how the building seems to pop off the canvas in this work of art, and it gave me an idea for an art project that explores architecture. So let's grab some art supplies and make something together. Today I'll be showing you how to make a pop-up building card. For today's project, you'll need just a few easy-to-find supplies. You'll need something to color with, like markers or crayons, something to draw with, like a pencil or a pen, a pair of scissors, some glue, and some paper. I had a piece of construction paper that I wanted to use, but regular white copy paper will work just fine too. The first step is to take your piece of paper and fold it in half from the top to the bottom. Next, cut on the folded line to split your paper into 2 equal pieces. We'll need both pieces of paper for this project, so save one for later and put the other in front of you. Next, fold it in half from top to bottom. Next, we're going to draw 2 lines from the folded edge of our paper. Make sure that you're drawing them from the folded edge, otherwise this step won't work. We're going to draw 2 straight lines from the folded edge of the paper that are about 1 inch long and about 1.5 inches apart. For me, that's about 2 fingers wide. Next, we're going to cut on both of the lines that we drew. Next, we're going to make the pop-up tab for our building to sit on. So, grabbing the piece of paper that we just cut, you're going to pinch along the fold using your thumb and first finger, and that brings the pop-up tab inside the card. When you close it, it should look like it's missing a rectangle from the outside. Now, that little tab pops up when you open your card, and it folds flat when you close it. Next, we'll be working on the area that's going behind our main building today. I like to measure how wide the space is by using the card where I cut out the little pop-up tab and measuring it to the edge of the page so I know how much space I need to fill. You don't have to do it this way. You could just draw your buildings one by one and glue them on until the space is full. That's just how I like to do it. I'm going to be drawing skyscrapers to go in the background of my card today, but you could do trees or houses or however you want to decorate your city. Now that I've sketched out all my background buildings, I'm going to color them in. And now I'll cut them out. Next, it's time to glue them onto the background of your card. Flip your buildings, trees, or whatever else you've drawn over and put some glue on the back. Then you're going to glue it to either side of the pop-up tab we made. Line up the bottom edge of your cut piece of paper with the fold on the card. Now we're finally ready to make our pop-up building. I like to make sure that my building is a little bit wider than the tab I created in my card, so I'm going to measure my paper against the little cutout that I made earlier and make sure that it's just a little bit wider. Of course, you can make any type of building that you like for your city. I was inspired by Colin Campbell Cooper to create an art museum. Sketch out your building, then color it in and cut it out. In order to make our building pop up when you open your card, we'll need to add a little glue to the bottom of the tab we made. Add glue just to the bottom half of your pop-up tab. Place your building on the glue and hold for a few seconds or until it's dry. At this point, you can add any extra details you like a road, clouds, water, anything that will help your card feel more finished. The last step is to use the second half of the paper that we cut at the beginning of this project and glue it around the outside of your card. And that's all there is to it. Your pop-up city is complete. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had fun making our pop-up architecture cards. We'd love to see what you made. If you tag the Dixon and use the hashtag DixonAtHome or Discover the Dixon on Facebook or Instagram, we'll be able to see your creations. Make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the fun art and garden activities that we put out on our channel. Thanks so much. Have a great day.